Today we're going to talk about grit, resilience, and grit, two virtues that are very crucial because of the problems we see in society and among the young people today, because of the kind of generation of young people you and I have inside our classroom. For the sake of those who are first time to hear me, which in fact I'm interested to know, can you type in the chat box one if this is your first time to attend any of my seminars? Two, if you have attended many. So only one or two. One, if this is the very first time you're attending my session. Two, if many. Okay, great. So we have a number of ones, and the majority, I think, are twos. So for the sake of those who are first timers, the first time to hear me, my name is Mann, Rentoy. I've been a teacher for more than 30 years. I taught in Southridge for 15 years, Southridge School. I started a school in Iloilo City. It's called Westbridge School. I also taught in the University of Asia and the Pacific. And in the last 11 years, 12 years, I've spent more time going around the country and around the world, reaching out to teachers, parents, and community leaders to push character formation, because clearly this is where the crisis is. I think all of you will agree with me. The young people inside our classroom today are different in many ways. And that's why we are going to talk about resilience and grit as two of the most important things we need to pass on to the young people, to form in the young people. Okay? 2022, when character.org, the biggest umbrella organization of character education advocates in the US, gave me the International Champion for Character Award for my contribution to the field of character education. And so much of what I'm going to pass on to you today, I got from the experts in character.org, our friends from Center for the Fourth and Fifth R's, Dr. Thomas Licona Institute, which is based in the State University of New York, and also from friends, experts, speakers that I have been able to bring into the Philippines to give conferences on character formation, like Dr. Michelle Borba, Dr. Hal Urban, Mr. Salamat, in the last two sessions, made the reference to Dr. Borba, Dr. Hal Urban, and also Dr. Thomas Licona. So they are very good friends that I brought over to the Philippines. Okay, let's get straight into the meat of the matter. By the way, because it's a holiday, I will not give a break in the middle of our session, and I will just go straight in the presentation. So we might be able to finish a bit earlier than 4:30 because it's a holiday anyway today. So no more break in the middle. And then I will give also the link before we close the Zoom room later for you to be able to claim your certificates. So then, here are 5 challenges that we are seeing according to research among the young people today. Ito daw yung 5 mga bagay na nakikita natin sa mga kabataan ngayon. Digital dependency. Of course, if we're going to be more straight and direct about it, that's digital addiction. Mga bata ngayon, addicted to gadget, to technology, to internet, to cellphone, to social media. Nagle-lecture tayo sa loob ng classroom, pero ang isip nila nandun sa TikTok, sa Facebook, sa Instagram. Sino na kayang nag-like nung post ko? Ilan na kayang shares? How many have hearted my post last night. Things like that. Their mind is always there. Or even worse, their mind is in their video games. That's a challenge we see among the young people today. And then, sabi ng research, instant gratification dictates their lifestyle. And by the way, hindi lang ito sa mga kabataan. You and I, as teachers, are also affected. Minsan kahit tayo, meron ding sort of digital addiction. And we too want instant gratification. Hindi tayo exempted from this because we are not machines. We are not robots. And the environment is manipulating all of us to be addicted to gadget, to be addicted to social media. There is a documentary available in Netflix that I hope you can find a way of being able to watch. It's about the engineers who invented the shares and the likes. Social Dilemma. Social Dilemma. That's the title of the documentary. I encourage you to watch it. In-interview yung mga engineers who invented itong sharing, liking in social media, and they all regret having invented them because they realized they have created a monster or they have created something that is very damaging. That is damaging, in fact, mindsets, attitudes, behaviors, discipline of many people, including yours and mine. We too are affected by it because most likely 100% of us here, I think, are in social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Number 3, decreased empathy. Number 4, ethical ambiguity. Para bang suddenly, hindi na tayo sigurado ano ang tama, ano ang mali. Bakit, like in the US, majority are for abortion? Teka muna, 20 years ago, abortion is murder, was murder. We were very clear about it. Pero ngayon, parang it's ambiguous. And the young people are affected by this in a worse way, in a graver way. If we are affected by it, think of how the young people are affected by it. Wars. Right now, there are wars going on in different parts of the world. We are affected by it. Please pause to think about how it is affecting the young people in a even more grave way. And the number 5, shallow relationships. O nga naman, kasi you can have a kid or someone, even an adult, who can be spending the whole day just with a gadget, with the internet, with Netflix, with YouTube, and not dealing with other human beings, which is the only way to deepen relationship, which is the only way to develop empathy. So these are 5 challenges. And here are 5 consequences. Because of those 5 challenges, maraming mga kabataan ngayon, maraming mga tao ngayon have decreased patience and persistence. Kaya napansin nyo, mas dumadami yung nakikita nyo sa social media, sa 24 oras, TV Patrol, na road rage. Abay, konting git-gitan lang sa kalsada, maglalabas ng barel. Lalabas at gustong makipagsuntukan. Decreased patience and persistence, especially among the young people today. They are not as patient and persistent as you and I are because things were not as easy with us. You see, we're driving home already the point to, that's why kailangan natin ng grit and resilience now more than ever. Reduced empathy and understanding, ethical confusion and moral ambiguity, difficulty in building deep relationships. And then, marami ba sa inyo nagtataka bakit ang dami na ngayon ng mga cases ng ADD, ADHD, ODD? Wala naman yung mga yun nung bata ako. I mean, no, 20 years ago even, 30 years ago, we never had to deal with so many cases of students inside our classroom with problems with attention, problems with focusing, problems with discipline, problems with grit, resilience, perseverance, and being able to control themselves, self control. This is the reason why this topic today is very crucial if you are to be a great teacher. Sabi nila, patience, understanding is one of the most difficult virtues for a teacher to have these days. That's why more and more teachers are going to go viral, getting angry, getting upset, shouting at the students, screaming at them, and because that's a kind of generation of young people you and I have inside the classroom today. So, resilience and grit, they are essential character traits that empower students to overcome challenges, persevere through setbacks, and achieve long-term success. Teachers, we are not just interested in seeing students pass a subject. The reason why galit na galit tayo pag ang mga estudyante walang disiplina is because nasa isip natin, kung hindi natin ito itatama, lalaking masamang bata ito. That's why many times those teachers who get upset, get angry, and then they have to resort to shouting, screaming, it's because they care enough for these students. Kasi nasa isipan natin, kung hindi ko ito didisiplinahin, itong batang ito, hindi aabot sa grade 12, hindi aabot sa college, hindi makakapagtapos because we really are after their long-term success. So then, we need strategies and a mindset that will enable us to help our students achieve long-term success. By fostering grit and resilience, teachers can help students develop the mindset and skills needed to thrive both academically and also in life. And this is the reason why Harry K. Wong, may he rest in peace, he passed away early this year, always reminded us, teachers, we are engaged in the business of enhancing lives. You are not just a math teacher, a science teacher, an English teacher, a social studies teacher. You and I really are engaged in the business of enhancing lives. That's what it is. Well, that's what it means to be a teacher. Pero, sige, real talk lang tayo, no? Anyway, I look at the list here, 114 of us here. Wala namang bata dito, wala namang bata sa sa Zoom room. Lahat tayo dito mature individuals, mature professionals. So, don't feel offended if I have to be frank. Real talk lang tayo. Hindi lahat ng teachers may sense of mission. You and I have met teachers, maybe even worked side by side with some teachers na para bang they're only after the salary. I mean, real talk lang. Totoo yun. Sa Pilipinas, marami tayong mga ganyang teachers. Pumasok ng pagtuturo, pagiging guro, not because they want to make an impact, not because they want to make a difference in the lives of students, but because they need a job. They need an employment. Now, let me make it very clear. There's actually nothing wrong with that. Because of course, all of us need a job. Of course, all of us need a salary. Of course, all of us need to feed, to bring food on the table. But here's a very important message. teaching is more than just an employment. Teaching is more than just a job. It is a mission. It is a profession. In fact, you may have heard it from Mr. Salamat in some of his talks. Teaching is a vocation. It's a calling, all of us as teachers. And so this is one of the most important, I would say, aims of this series of seminars we have this week. Teachers, we are inviting you to make a decision. I will do my job as a teacher, as a vocation, as a mission, as a profession, more than just an employment. And so, what we see, you and I have had dozens of teachers in our many years inside the classroom. Real talk lang tayo, no? Hindi lahat ng teachers natin in grade school, in high school, hindi lahat sila spectacular. Hindi lahat sila excellent. Admit it. It's true. There are teachers we've had who are maybe not even memorable. Yung they really didn't leave a mark. But let's be very grateful to those who made a difference in our life. I'm not even going to be surprised if among the 114 teachers in the Zoom room now, some of us decided to become teachers because of one great teacher that we had in grade 4, in grade 6, in high school, in college. I think we all can agree, iba-iba ang mga teachers. Okay, sabi ni Ma'am Niema, low connection po kayo, sir. Can I get again? 3 if the connection is okay. Please type in the chat box. 2 if poor. 1 if okay. Everyone is typing 3. Thank you so much. Ma'am Niema, your connection is the one with the problem. Okay, so now, teachers, please don't feel offended because I know you're here. The fact that you're here on a holiday, the fact that you're attending a webinar on a holiday is a very clear sign you're great. You are fantastic human beings and teachers. That's why you went out of your way, you're going out of your way to attend a seminar like this. Now, I've given seminars to more than 100,000 teachers around the Philippines, in Japan, in Kuala Lumpur, in Thailand, in the US, in Sri Lanka, where I stayed for 1 year. Real talk lang tayo. There are some teachers I've seen out of the more than 100,000 who have attended my seminars, online or face-to-face. There are some participants, alam mo, certificate lang ang habol. Yan. Real talk lang tayo. One is because maybe kasi ni-require ni ma'am magpunta. Ayan. Tapos yung isa naman, kasi kailangan ko for my license renewal. Kaya I've made it a point now, yung sa Facebook advertisement ko, when somebody asks, sir, may CPD units ba? Most of the time, I don't reply anymore because clearly, CPD lang yung habol. But many of you signed up, maybe because nakita nyo, uy, grit and resilience, may problema tayo dito sa mga bata with these 2 virtues. Let's learn how to go about helping the young people with their grit, with their resilience. That's what many of you are. That's what most of you, if not all of you, are here for. Kasi gusto nating malaman ano bang pwede nating gawin para matulungan natin itong mga estudyante natin na parang wala ng grit, wala ng resilience. Because you and I firmly believe that we are not just covering the curriculum. We have not just been hired to finish the textbook. We measure success not simply by looking at whether we finish the textbook and reach the last chapter or not. We measure success of our teaching when we are able to say at the end of the school year, I made a difference in that student, in that other student, in the whole class. I made a difference in the lives of my students. They are better human beings because I taught them, not just subjects, not just math, English, Filipino, and social studies. I taught them grit, resilience, virtues, values, character. Let's go into grit. In recent years, naging sikat ang grit thanks to the best-selling book of Angela Duckworth. And if you haven't read it, I encourage you to grab a copy, to look for summaries if you want in the internet, but it's good to go over the principles, the ideas of Angela Duckworth in that book, Grit. Okay, let's have a bit of understanding of grit. The characteristics of grit. A person has grit if meron siyang passion, meron siyang perseverance. Because grit is the ability to pursue long-term goals with unrelenting determination, even in the face of obstacles and failures. Long-term goals. So climbing a mountain on a mountain climbing expedition, that's not grit yet. Yung being able to reach the top, that's not grit. That's not long-term. But yes, being able to work his way to graduate with honors. Kailangan niya ng grit. In the face of obstacles and failures, we have more and more students entering our classroom. Sadly, we have more and more students entering our classroom, and they come from dysfunctional families. Or maybe absentee ang parents. Yung nanay nasa Dubai, yung tatay nasa Saudi, but they work their way to succeed even without the supervision of the parents, even with a very comfortable life because the parents are able to bring dollars back, to send dollars back home. But they have passion and they have perseverance. That's great. Now, let me present you with some red flags in our environment. Nabanggit na natin kanina. Ang problema is the culture that we see in society today, in the environment, fosters instant gratification. The culture, the environment, the lifestyle, they all jeopardize the development of grit and perseverance. Passion, yes, malakas. Kasi para bang ang battle cry ng modern generation is follow your heart. Talaga naman yung just do it. Yan yung mga pero instant gratification ang lakas. A clear proof of that, a clear proof of this instant gratification is napaka ano kasi para bang napaka convenient, napaka comfortable ng buhay ng mga kabataan ngayon. Nung bata ako, lahat ng bus, public bus, lahat sila walang aircon. Later lang lumabas yung love bus. Uy, galing the first air-conditioned buses. Sanay tayo sa hirap. Pero itong mga kabataan ngayon, hindi. Kailangan comfortable, dapat convenient, dapat yan. So, and then, instant gratification, kailangan mabilis ang internet, di ba? You and I, inabutan pa natin lahat yung dial-up internet. Yung bang pag ginamit mo yung internet, ay patay ang telephone line. Walang pwedeng pumasok na telephone call kasi gamit mo yung yan. At tapos, pag pindot mo, ay maghintay ka kasi mabagal ang pag-load. Pero ngayon, pag hindi nag-load in 3 seconds, kala nila something's wrong with the Wi-Fi, something's wrong with the computer, something's wrong with the internet. Kailangan lahat instant. Instant mommy, instant food na microwave and in 1 minute kumukulo na yung tubig at saka umuusok yung kanin. Dapat lahat instant gratification. This is the kind of environment that the young people are growing up in. Self-entitled. Di ba, nirereklamo natin marami sa mga even young professionals, mga newly hired employees. Parang ang lakas ng entitlement. Now, kung malakas ang entitlement, even ng mga adults na ganong klaseng age, I think about the kids. Many kids today who have cell phone as early as grade 1, grade 2. May sarili ng tablet. The pandemic, in fact, did a lot of damage in that aspect. Para bang because of the pandemic, we went online, suddenly many kids below the age of 10 have their own computer, tablet, cell phone. Kailangan ko sa module, kailangan ko sa research, kailangan ko sa online classes. When research says kids below the age of 12 are incapable of owning their own gadget responsibly. Incapable, sabi ng research, below the age of 12. And yet many of them now have. So, ako naalala ko, yung una kong cellphone, Nokia 3210, pinaghirapan ko, nag-ipon ako. I missed lunch minsan, merienda, to be able to buy my first phone. Not that grade 1 kid today. Hindi siya naghirap. Hindi niya yan pinaghirapan. Wala siyang sweldo. And yet, she has her own cell phone, tablet, computer. That contributes to itong strong sense of entitlement. In fact, researchers sometimes describe this generation as a snowflake generation. Diba? You've heard it. You've heard commentaries mention this. Snowflake generation. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Simply, ay, less resilient, easily offended. You have to be careful about how you say things. Ang daming political correctness that we have to follow. I even find it weird. Bakit merong mga pronouns? Aba, pwede na silang pumili kung anong pronoun ang gagamitin sa kanila. Him, her, his. Ano yan? Wala naman yan nung bata ako. Meron pa nga they. Some people, some individuals want to be referred to as them or they. Bakit? Yan. This is a kind of generation of kids you and I have inside our classroom, described by some researchers, experts as the snowflake generation. And then political correctness, we have to be careful about the terms we use. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin, uy, prisoner, nakakulong. Aba, teka muna. He is person deprived of liberty, PDL. Mapapakamot ka na lang sa ulo mo. Bakit? I mean, is it offensive? Is it offensive now to say, totoo naman, nakakulong, o edi prisoner. Hindi. We have to be politically correct about the words we use. Ay, hindi mo pwedeng tawaging pandak, short, vertically challenged yan. Vertically challenged. In fact, hindi mo pwedeng tawagin siyang deaf, bingi. It's politically incorrect. You have to say hearing impaired. Yan. Drug addict? Uy, masama kang tao. Don't be offensive with your language. He is person with chemical dependency. Astig, ano? Hindi mo, poor? Ay, hindi mo pwedeng tawaging poor yung taong yan. He is or they are economically marginalized. Yan. Pangit yung tao. Nako, hindi mo pwedeng tawaging ugly. The person is visually unfavorable. Lazy? Hindi pwedeng tawaging lazy. Motivationally deficient. It's absurd if you think about it. Why? What's wrong with these terms? This is the kind of generation we're living in. This is the kind of people we are now dealing with. And so, asan doon yung perseverance and passion and being strong of character? Okay, let's move on. Resilience and adaptability, very important elements of grit. Gritty individuals bounce back from setbacks. Babangon agad. They learn from their mistakes and they continuously adapt their strategies to overcome challenges. That's what gritty people do. They have what we call the art of bouncing back. Kahit mahirap ang kondisyon, ang circumstance, ang situation, kahit challenging, mainit, kakayanin natin yan. Walang aircon, kakayanin natin yan. Abay hindi. Mayors have to declare no face-to-face classes. Masyadong mainit. Kawawa naman ang mga snowflakes matutunaw. Now, okay, let me correct myself. Maybe there are very valid reasons to cancel face-to-face classes. One is because anyway, we have the equipment to continue on with online classes. That will be less punishing for both the teachers as well as the learners. But again, we think about it. Is that really the best way to develop character among our students? Are we, in fact, helping them with that kind of decision of calling off face-to-face classes for consideration that it has become too hot these days? I'm not going to make an evaluation, but it's something good to think about. Resilience is both an outcome. We become resilient because we are able to face challenges. And it's also a process. We develop resilience as we go through tough times, challenging times, difficulties. So, resilience, qualities which cushion a vulnerable child from the worst effects of adversity in whatever form it takes, and which may help a child or young person to cope, survive, and even thrive in the face of great hurt and disadvantage. That's why the latest book of Dr. Michelle Borba is entitled Thrivers. Why do some kids thrive even in difficult times and some others do not? Now, let me present more red flags. Red flags because teachers, while this is what the resilience is all about and what grit is all about, the environment, the circumstance, the world is presenting a different value to them. Let's talk about mental health. When I was a kid, there was no such thing as mental health break, mental wellness break. Para bang my parents would tell me, mag-aral ka dyan. Mental health break ka dyan. Now, we live in a different times. These are different times. And sadly, mental health is becoming weaponized by some people. Tell me, have you heard a student saying something like this to you? Sir, ma'am, hindi mo ko pwedeng ibagsak. Depressed ako. Baka kung ano pang magawa ko pag binagsak niyo ako. Para bang insinuating magsusuicide ako, ma'am. Have any of you encountered a student saying something like this? Para bang, sir, I'm depressed right now. I really cannot study. Sorry, pero you have to give me a consideration. Yan. O kaya, ma'am, in companies, the principal will be told, or the boss, ma'am, you cannot fire me for being absent. I had mental health issues. You've encountered this? I have encountered this. I have heard a teacher say this to the administrator. You have to understand, I'm going through tough times. Minsan iisipin mo, ano to? Is this what we can call emotional blackmail? Are you blackmailing me? Are you like I don't know, trying to tie my hands and twist my arms? This is a kind of generation of young people that we are dealing with right now. Na para bang to give them correction is like walking on eggshells. You have to be very careful, not just with your words, but even with your tone of voice, with the way you correct you. So this is uh, counterproductive as far as grit, resilience, um, toughness, fortitude, and all those other similar virtues are concerned. And I've seen professionals even who will just easily quit and throw everything up in the air. Some of you may be administrators. You've encountered teachers like that. They apply, they take the test, they get interviewed, they do a demo class, and then they teach. Aba, after 1 month, they disappear. They disappear. They stop coming to class. No text, no email, no visit. You just don't hear from them. Bakit? And then now the school has to look for Mrs. Batumbakal, can you handle some of the subjects of Mrs. So and so? We cannot contact her. The- we are seeing this even among young professionals. It's a it's a reality, and even in companies, they're seeing this. And among the young people, you may be seeing this. They just easily quit, throw everything up in the air. Bahala na si Batman. That kind of mindset. Red flag. You see, that's why we need to know, ay Mr. Rentoy, anong pwede nating gawin to develop grit, resilience and grit among our students? Let's continue on. Third quality of grit is may growth mindset. I'm not going to tackle this in detail because that's the topic for tomorrow, growth mindset. And if you're not registered for that one, to complete the picture, I would suggest you catch tomorrow's session on growth mindset as a way of solving the problem with the absence of grit and resilience among many young people today. Because grit is closely linked to a growth mindset where students believe that their abilities can be developed through hard work and dedication. Kailangan nating ipaalala sa mga kabataan that hard work and dedication are still in. Hindi sila old-fashioned. No, hard work continues to be important, essential for success. And dedication. Dedication. Yung, alam nyo yung parang ang taas ngayon ng turnover rates sa mga companies. And I think it's also happening even in schools. Today, we are very impressed, amazed, awed by teachers like Mr. Salamat who stay in the profession for 39 years, 38, 39 years. We are so amazed by teachers who have been in the profession for decades. We're amazed by that because the trend is they work and then they move to another field or they don't last long. Same thing with companies. They work in one company and then 2 years, 3 years later, they're looking for greener pastures already. Parang asan dun yung dedication? That's where grit comes in. Perseverance in long-term goals. Red flags. Okay? For growth mindset, ang problema natin is the young people today are growing up in a highly consumeristic world. Paano na ngayon yung sinasabing hard work and dedication if the world is like this, dictating on um, buy, upgrade. You have to get the latest. Don't settle for the lower version. May mga kilala ko mga teenagers ganyan, halimbawa, malungkot sila kasi iPhone 14 ang phone niya. Oh, bakit? Kasi sir, may iPhone 15 na. But your phone is still perfectly okay. Yes, sir, pero last year pa to. Huh? That's the kind of world that the young people are growing up in. The environment is manipulating them to buy, and buy, to consume, to have that consumer mindset, attitude, outlook. Quick money. That's the other red flag. Aba, yung maraming mga bata ngayon, gusto nila kailangan mayaman kagad. Ay, tika muna, pinaghihirapan yan. It takes hard work. It takes time. It takes dedication. Do your work very well. Then you will be rewarded. But hindi pwedeng lahat kailangan easy money, quick money. Kaya ang daming scammers ngayon. I mean, really, I ask you, ilang text messages ang na-receive nyo today asking you to click on a link dahil nanalo ka, dahil may prize, dahil may the people, the scammers are precisely riding on that mindset that is prevalent among many people today. Kailangan quick money. That's the kind of environment that we are living in right now. The young people are growing up in. Kaya yung growth mindset is in crisis as well. Hedonism. Enjoy. Just do it. Satisfy your thirst. Even the FOMO, fear of missing out, is part of this fruit of the hedonistic environment that we are growing up in. Or some of you gave up the beach party, beach overnight excursion to be able to attend this seminar. But there are those who, well, are there taking advantage of the 2-day vacation, maybe even 5 days kung nag-file sila ng leave nung Monday. Why? Kasi ang mindset na, uy, deserve mo yan. Para bang you deserve the treat, the break, that's the kind of environment that we are living in right now. And kung hindi tayo, if we're not going to put our act together, itong mga kabataan sa loob ng classroom natin ngayon, they're going to be victimized by the environment. That's why I tell teachers, pag may pumasok ng classroom mo, acting like a spoiled brat, I know it's politically incorrect to use the term, pero come on, we're adults here. You know what I'm talking about. If there's a kid who enters your classroom acting like a spoiled brat, huwag kang magalit sa kanya. Biktima yan. Biktima yan ng environment. Biktima yan nitong kind of mindset, generation that he belongs to, that he is growing up in. Kaya yan pumapasok ng classroom natin. Gusto niyang matuto. Gusto niyang matutunan, hindi lang yung math, science, English, and Filipino mo. Gusto niyang matutunan. Sir, what's the point of life? Why are we here? What's my purpose? What's the meaning of my life? Those are the things in the mind of many young people today, more than asking the question, how do you do factoring? What is subject-verb agreement? Well, what is the history of the World War II? More than all those academic things, they are actually asking the bigger questions in life. They need us now more than ever. They need you and me as teachers who will show them the way. So, 5 characteristics of grit according to Duckworth. Number 1 is courage. We need to develop among the young people that virtue of courage. Teachers, did you ever experience a high school student coming to you depressed, gusto na mag-suicide kasi binasted ng boyfriend, binasted ng girlfriend? Why? Teka muna, bakit ka magpapakamatay? Ang dami-daming tao dyan, ang dami-daming lalaki dyan, ang dami-daming babae. Ang, ang pangit-pangit pa ng boyfriend mo. No, courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Bumagsak lang ng isang subject, gusto nang mag-drop out. Napagalitan lang, gusto nang lumayas. Courage. We need to develop courage. We need to talk about courage. We need to model courage among our students. Conscientiousness. This is another very important quality of grit. Nowadays, the term we use is mindfulness. And there is now, that is a byword, no? Mindfulness, which I will also include being conscientious, not just of yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, but also of your surroundings, your environment, the people around you. Considerateness, being considerate, that too is part of conscientiousness, that you don't just think about yourself, you think about the others. Kaya minsan hindi mo maintindihan, kailangan talagang i-announce pa ng MRT, LRT na bawal ang pag yung playing MP3 players na maingay na malakas, Hindi ba dapat common sense 'yon? Na if you're considerate about the other people, ay huwag kang magpapatugtog ng malakas na MP3 music player mo. Huwag kang manonood ng TikTok nang wala kang earphones at saka headphones. Nakakaistorbo sa mga 'di ba dapat common sense 'yon? Hindi, hindi na common sense. Kaya kailangang i-announce. And even if you hear that announcement in LRT, MRT, yung wag magpatugtog ng malakas na you still have people doing that. Nanonood ng TikTok. Alam mo TikTok yung kasi every 15 seconds nag-iiba yung music and ang lakas. Nakakaistorbo. Minsan nakakairita pa yung tunog kasi tunog lata yung kanyang cellphone. So, the conscientiousness, being thorough, careful, or vigilant, that is part of having grit. Perseverance, of course, to start and continue steadfastly on the path towards any goal you set. And then, of course, grit is resilience. Resilience is one of the elements of grit. The capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. And then, teachers, here is something that you and I are in a position to be able to give to our students: a deep sense of purpose, which does not just consist in covering your syllabus and curriculum. It especially comes in your comments, in your reaction to situations, in your example. The passion that we show towards teaching, towards helping, towards caring, the passion that we show our students in being able to help them. That's why you see, teaching is a service profession. It's a helping profession. It can only be done successfully if done with passion. Pero real talk nga lang tayo, sabi natin kanina, hindi lahat ng teachers pare-pareho. We've had great teachers. Thanks to them, many of us decided to become teachers. But it's true, we've also had average teachers. And even sadder, even more sad, kahit ikaw at ako, I'm sure nagkaroon tayo ng sort of mediocre teachers. Yung bang parang Pag pumapasok ng classroom, parang ang feeling nila, the way they show yung kanilang external is parang they're being tortured, ganyan. Or yung tipong 4:30 ang dismissal, ano? Ito yung mga teachers na 4 o'clock pa lang aali-aligid na sa bandy clock o sa biometrics. Kasi as soon as ting 4:30 yung relo, they're out of here. Minimalist ang tawag natin sa kanila. But yes, we've had great teachers who made an impact in our life. Teachers, this seminar is nothing else but an invitation. Let us be great teachers because the young people need us now more than ever, especially because of the kind of environment we see around us today. Okay, grit is important for student success. One, in academic achievement, of course, because that's how we, for example, passed our subjects, pass our exams. Minsan, kahit magpuyat tayo, gagawin natin because we want to be able to achieve academic success. Academic achievement is one of the most important fruits of grit, one of the most important elements for student success. Gritty students are more likely to achieve higher grades, complete their education, and excel in their academic pursuits. Red flags. I'll show you some red flags, enemies of this. Alam nyo ang chat GPT mindset? Binibigay mo pa lang ang assignment, iniisip na ng mga bata, i-chat GPT ko yan mamaya. Teachers, here's what I always tell teachers in seminars. Pag ang estudyante nag-cut and paste from Wikipedia or from ChatGPT an assignment, kasalanan mo. Kasalanan mo kasi bakit mo binigay yung assignment na pwedeng i-cut and paste lang. Don't give them an assignment, write an essay on. They will just Google that, and then they are going to see, after clicking the button, they're going to see there are thousands of articles on that topic that they can just cut and paste from. Don't. If you give them an assignment na pwedeng i-cut and paste, it may be your fault. Why don't you creatively come up with something that they will have to analyze, evaluate, synthesize, rephrase, reword, produce, demonstrate, exhibit, set up a performance? You can do whatever you need to make them do to prove to you that they have understood the lesson, other than simply write an essay, write a report, which they can easily. It's not their fault na may chat GPT na ngayon. It's not their fault that the Wikipedia is there available for them for free. It's there. It's a reality. We're not going to deny the fact that it exists. And therefore, when we give assignments, we keep in mind, nandun yung mga yon. We will have to think of how to make them prove to us that they understood something other than true cut and pasted articles or write-ups. Because ito yung red flag regarding that academic achievement. Grit is in crisis because we have all these shortcuts available now for them. Why do you need to work hard? Parang ganon. What's the point, therefore, of staying up late? What's the point of being dedicated? And nandito naman lahat ng mga AI-assisted tools and apps for us. So that's very important to keep in mind. The environment that they're living in right now fosters minimal effort, easy-going ways. We have to find ways of helping them develop grit and resilience in spite of the kind of environment. Skill development. That's what grit brings about. Grit enables students to develop essential skills such as self-regulation, problem solving, and time management. And think about it, these are life skills. Self-regulation, self-control, control of oneself, problem solving. Up to the end of their life, they will be solving problems. From small problems of how to make this appliance work if it stops working, to a great problem as how to save the company from bankruptcy. The whole of their life, they will be doing problem solving and time management. For the rest of their life, they will be doing management of time. And so it's very important. Grit plays a very important role. Red flag, yeah, nandyan yun. Tech addiction, gadget, social media. How much time is lost and wasted because of addiction to Netflix, to, I mean, hindi ko natatanong dito, ilan sa inyo ang anong tawag dito? Tinapos ang buong season ng Queen of Tears. Ayan, at least all the available. Because walang pasok kahapon at saka today, ilan sa inyo ang nag-binge ng K-drama? Yan. Di ba? We are affected by this. Now think about how it affects them even more. Especially yung kanilang video games addiction. Because kung ganun yung rule sa ibang bahay you cannot play video games if there is class tomorrow, the next day. Paano yun? Walang klase for 2 days? For 2 nights? They could play as much as they want? Addiction to video games. So that one is affecting. By the way, nabanggit ko yung K-drama. If you haven't seen Sky Castle, if you haven't watched Sky Castle, it's interesting. Doon mo makikita yung different types of parenting and how it affects the parenting styles of the parents, how they affect the kids, the students. And you can also apply it in classroom management. You can have a permissive teacher, a dictator teacher, authoritative teacher. Makikita mo rin doon. It's interesting. You see, K-drama is not that bad if we know how to manage our time very well and if we know how to have self-control, etc. But I just pointed out these things as red flags, the enemies of being able to develop grit for success, because all these are in the environment. Okay, emotional well-being. That is one of the consequences of having grit. Gritty students are more likely to maintain a positive mindset, cope with stress, and experience greater overall well-being. Well, very quickly, there are still red flags. The young people today are subjected to a lot of harmful, violent images in 24 Oras, in TV Patrol, in Facebook, in Twitter, in Instagram, in TikTok. So many. The Mr. Salamat yesterday talked about the culture of hatred that is prevalent in social media, the bashing and the mob rule of netizens. Yung bang para bang everybody feels like they are entitled to condemning someone who makes a wrong move caught in video. And even worse is the other side of the fence. More and more of these content creators become obsessed with for the video for today. Well, many of us were wondering, ba't kasi nag-live si ma'am habang pinapagalitan yung klase? Yun yung pumasok sa isipan ng marami, no? Bakit? I mean, okay lang if you have to discipline the class, but you know, you don't even need discipline if you know how to manage the class, according to Harry Wong. Pero kailangan talagang mag-live. Kailangan talagang i-post sa social media, yung gano'n. We are grappling with challenges like this. Okay, grit is very important. You and I now, hopefully, are in agreement. We need grit resilience. But the world, the environment is running counter. Like, like as if the environment is the number one enemy for the young people to develop grit. What can we do? Here it is. Let's talk about a few strategies. You want your students to develop grit and resilience? Teachers, assign tasks that stretch students' abilities and encourage them to step outside their comfort zones. Now, Tom Licona would say, practice what you preach, but don't forget to preach what you practice. We have to talk about this. For example, teachers, often what comes out of our mouth should be words like, class, please refrain from just cut and pasting from the internet. Please exert the effort to do this project well, your own work that you put in, not plagiarized. Please work hard to be able to produce the best possible output for this assignment. It's for you. It will help you a lot. It will do you a lot of good. This thing should come out of our mouth. You see, kahit anong subject ang tinuturo mo, we can say those words. Class, exam tayo next week. Please do not cram. Start studying today. Don't just study the night before. We should be saying things like that. But more than that, we have to assign tasks that stretch students' abilities and encourage them to step outside their comfort zones. Enough of sheer memory work. I mean, hopefully, hindi na tayo nagbibigay ng exams na uh, what day did this thing happen. Eh, memorization yun eh. Kung magaling kang mag-memorize, abay talagang makaka-perfect ka ng exam. No, we have to go for higher order thinking skills. Making the students create, produce, demonstrate, perform, set up an exhibit, more than just simply memorize dates and names and places and numbers. Evaluate, analyze, apply, understand. The lowest is the remembrance. So, what are these? Critical thinking, analyzing information, questioning assumptions, evaluating evidence, making reasoned judgments or decisions. We have to creatively come up with all these exercises, activities, assessments that will make them use critical thinking, problem solving, analysis, and then synthesis, evaluation, creativity. Let us not settle for the usual, the multiple choice, true or false. Okay, we can use them, but there should be more and more activities that we make the students do that will enable them to go out of their comfort zone, because that's what life is. I mean, that's how life is, really. um they have to know how to challenge themselves and go beyond the minimum, not being minimalists. Here are some samples of activities, exercises, assessments that you can make them do. Make them do case studies. Yung mga real life scenarios. What will you do if this situation happens? Identify the key issues, propose solutions, and then give a presentation to the class justifying why you chose those possible solutions. Debates. Get them to engage in debating on a topic, on an idea. But by the way, let me remind you, there are certain topics that are not up for debate because there is such a thing as objective truth, objective morals. So for example, hindi mo pagde-debate ang mga bata, abortion, good or bad. That's not a valid topic. I mean, you don't debate about absolute truths. You can debate about, okay, controversial, but it has two sides in the issue. That's why it is a debate. If something has no two sides, you cannot be debating on something that has no sides, requiring research, analyzing evidence, constructing arguments, and then responding to counter arguments. That's higher order thinking skills. Socratic seminars, where you have guided discussion with open-ended questions, critically analyzing ideas, supporting their arguments with evidence, and listening actively. Even that is a very important skill that young people need to develop. Listening, active listening, because they are subjected to so much noise of music, noise of Netflix, noise of social media, noise of the environment, that many of them don't know anymore how to listen actively, attentively, paying attention. Problem-based learning, very useful exercise to make the students do. Critical reading and writing tasks, like give them reading materials that stimulate critical thinking, and then writing analytical essays, argumentative papers, or reflective responses where they really reflect and express themselves, express their opinions about a subject matter. Design thinking projects where they identify problems, they empathize with users, they brainstorm ideas, they come up with prototype solutions, and then they gather feedback. That's the kind of exercise we should be giving more and more the students, more than simply telling them write a report on. That can be chat GPT'd and downloaded. Write an essay about democracy. That's something that Wikipedia can easily give you. And then there are now websites where they cut and paste an article there. It's going to rewrite it so that it becomes now original of the person who uploaded the article. So there goes the originality. Concept mapping, simulation or role-playing games, project-based assessments, collaborative problem-solving tasks. In other words, there are many that we can explore other than the usual pen and paper tests. That's why Mr. Salamat yesterday mentioned UBD, Understanding by Design. I love it very much because the performance task is precisely of that principle. Make the students show, demonstrate, prove that they understood the lesson other than through pen and paper test. Number two, how can we foster and develop grit among our students in the classroom? Teachers, we have to model it. We have to show them by our example. Demonstrate your own resilience by openly sharing your experiences with overcoming challenges and setbacks. Or show it by your example. Class, I'm going to return your test papers. I stayed up late for 2 nights to finish checking so that I can return this paper to you. That's showing by your example. It's not that you're bragging, it's a lesson you're passing on to them, and a lesson where you are saying, if I put in this much effort, I have the right to demand as much effort from you. Teachers, wala kang karapatan magalit sa mga estudyante pag late sila pumasok ng classroom, late sila mag-submit ng homework, ng assignment. Kung ikaw mismo, ma'am, late ka pumasok ng classroom, late ka magbalik ng test papers, late ka magbigay sa kanila ng evaluation na pinangako mong ibibigay sa kanila bago mag-final exams. We cannot demand from our students something that we do not first show by our example. You've heard this. And this is what character education is all about. This is what we've got to do. This is what we will enable us to form the character, to form grit, to form resilience, to form hard work, to form dedication in our students by our example. Sabi ni Ralph Waldo Emerson, your actions speak so loudly. I cannot hear what you are saying. Our actions speak even more loudly than our words. Effectively, that's what Ralph Waldo Emerson is saying. I came across a book, and you're going to hear from here on all the seminars I am going to be giving on character formation. I will be talking about the 6 design principles of Marvin Berkowitz. His book entitled Primed. Ayan. This one just arrived from Amazon the other day. 6 elements or things that we have to look for if you are doing correct character formation. And this includes also developing grit, resilience, and then tomorrow, growth mindset. P stands for prioritization. We've got to prioritize character formation. R is all about relationships. And you heard a lot of that from the class course of Mr. Salamat yesterday. The only effective way to give character formation is through personal dealings. Education is effective only if there is that personal relationship, that students are not merely class numbers for you. Mr. Salamat also mentioned yesterday intrinsic motivation. That's internalization. That the students will do the right thing not because you threaten them with punishments or you offer them with the rewards, but that it's an intrinsic motivation. They're going to do it because. And then I'm pointing this out, the prime, because letter M is modeling, especially because the students have very strong hypocrite radar. Ang lakas ng kanilang radar to detect hypocrisy. Yung teacher na magsasabing, class, ano ba kayo? Bakit kayo tatamad-tamad? Laging late mag-submit ng assignment ninyo. Pero kung alam nila itong si ma'am, late dumating ng klase, late magbalik ng test papers, late mag-submit ng grade then they detect that hypocrisy. There is no modeling there. They will not follow. They're not inspired. E is empowerment, and D is developmental pedagogy. So that's the prime. Wait, let me go over now the rest of the classroom strategies that we're pointing out. You want to develop resilience among your students? Do a lot of collaborative learning. Foster a supportive classroom environment where students can learn from each other and provide mutual encouragement. Make them do a lot of group collaborative work. Now, please keep in mind, when I say group work here, there is a wrong kind of group work that is done in some schools where the teacher will ask the class, okay, count 1 to 5. All the ones together, all the twos together. Now, your project is your group should come up with a, how do you call this? A diorama. A diorama of 20th century plaza. Yan. And then, wala ka nang madidinig sa teacher. And then, submit, by the way, on this day. That day comes, and here comes the valedictorian with a very beautiful diorama. that was made by the driver. And the others did not even help out. And the teacher is going to give the same grade to everyone in the group, even if only the valedictorian actually worked and only the driver of the valedictorian actually put together the project. That's not group work. That's unfair, and that should stop, and that should never ever happen. The collaborative work that we are talking about here is, okay, class, there are 5 members in your group. One will, two of you, okay, will put together the diorama because that will mean a lot of work. One will have to answer questions. One will have to make a presentation about what you will come up with. And the other one will have to write the written report. You see, there are 5 members because there are 5 concrete tasks that have to be done. That's cooperative learning. That's collaborative learning. That's not the abused group work. Because after all, in real life, nobody works alone. We work in a team. We work in a faculty. We work in a group, in a department, in a unit, we never work usually alone. Okay, so let me see. By fostering grit and resilience in the classroom, teachers can empower students to overcome challenges, persist through difficulties, and unlock their full potential both academically and in life. And I repeat what I said earlier, we are not just here to cover the curriculum. We are really here to help the young people grow up to be good and to do good, to be men and women of character by teaching them science, English, and math, etc. And also by forming their character through our example, the powerful example of our life, and then all the way throughout all the time that they are inside our classroom, we never fail to preach what we practice aside from practicing what we preach.